Welcome to the Insiders for the review of the greatest surf competition in history, with the greatest victory in history. Great. Goat. Wong. Oh, we couldn't hack it. We've been waiting 4 months for this comp, so when it came. It came in a big way. Fireworks. Huh? Kelly's anti-vax. He's anti lots of things. He's opinionated, he's getting older, he's got a shaved head, doesn't wear sunglasses, he's got a shine, he's got it all, everything. Something to hate, something to love, something to be passionate about. Now he's got another pipeline title under his belt. And Moana Wong, well, she was the only one that got barreled. Well, let's be honest. Apart from Carissa and Tyler occasionally, well, Moana got them in every heat all day. So let's celebrate this victory. And one more word. Goat!
Let's dive right in on our breakdown, Daz.
Well, it's the Banzai, isn't it? It's a iconic event. It's I can't think of any other event which is, or at least can be, so exciting, apart from all-time Chopu or J Bay. But even those ones, they're just more predictable, aren't they? Pipeline's just absolutely haywire all over the joint.
I completely agree. It's the one event that I know that almost everybody comes out to watch it. Like in England, you're up like through the night, and it's one of those events that I'm myself and you, we're surf nerds. We would watch every event, any event, shitty waves, great waves, and probably froth out. But it's the one event that people can
kinda. I'm not watching Huntington and that sort of shit anymore. And some of the crappy ones I didn't used to, but I've started to lose interest on every hit. That is.
The only one I don't watch is the pool, because that's fucking bullshit. But anyway, I don't mind the pool in the respect that I think the pool's more about pressure, and some guys can handle the pressure and some guys can't. It's just a drain. Ever since they underscored Julian Wilson, I just thought they don't understand the technicalities of airs enough, in my opinion, when they're judging it. They don't understand the little subtleties in someone grabbing with a different hand that makes it so much harder.
Neither do I, mate.
Yeah, but that's not your job. And
no, true.
And
anyway,
fuck the pool. We're talking about
look at Pipe. My mate sent me a message today and rang me, and he's 62, I think. Good old school surfer. He stayed up and watched it to the end.
Yeah, man.
I didn't. Yeah. I fell asleep in my Lafuma lean back chair, which will put any fit young man to sleep. If he's got a cushion under his foot, I was quite happy. But I did go to sleep thinking of the king. But let's get back to the women and kick off with the final, because Moana Jones can't do it wrong. Just didn't do it wrong again.
She deserves every accolade. I think it's sick to see, just watching her after she could barely speak, and she definitely deserves it. She, in my opinion, by far the standout, especially at pipe. Carissa and Tyler had a couple of backdoor waves which were pretty.
When you say especially at pipe, did you see it go right once?
No, that's what I mean. I'm on about going at pipe rather than backdoor.
Yeah.
So I'm saying especially on the wave that they determine as pipe, like a pipe wave, which is the left.
Well, she only went left, but she only needed to go left.
But she was the only lady I saw decent going left, actually. All of the women. And I'm going to be quite critical on some people in this, because obviously I'm a world-class surfer that would charge pipe at every occasion I could. But I actually think the women stepped up. There's obviously some that didn't, but like Malia Manuel, she caught a crazy backdoor wave. As I said, Tyler and Carissa went on a couple of, like Molly Picklum, Isabella Nichols. There are a couple of people that I thought, like, you're not about the exposure and all of that we discussed on the first poddy we done. And I actually think the women, in my opinion, exceeded my expectation.
Yes, I agree.
Again, no disrespect to the women, I would like to know how much this has progressed the whole women's sport. I definitely think that there was a few people that actually, because they got the time out at Pipe to surf on their own or with one other or two other ladies, you saw them getting better. But overall, this replaced the event that was, what was it, Honolulu? Yeah, and that event was one of my favourite women events.
Yeah, same with me. I'm still on the fence here with Pipe. I mean, well, I was more on the fence until I heard a Tyler Wright interview that they just did before. Did you see that? She's stoked on it, man. She's stoked. She reckons give them a few years, they'll find their spot and everything. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. There's multiple incredible tube locations around the world people could be going to. I'm wondering if it's not a cultural thing, because honestly, from when I was 19, my friends were like, we were going to India. It was like, let's go to India. Let's go to that place. Let's go. And I'm not sure if that's in at the moment, the female surf travel sink. And I don't see anything wrong with that at all. I mean, they can do what they want. And I'm, like I said to you in a message, I don't know if the idea is to turn them into gladiators. I don't know.
No,
maybe some of them want to be, and I think it's great to have a thing at Pipe, but I don't know about Pipe, G-Land and Chopal all at once when a lot of them aren't up for it from the looks of things.
Yeah, and what gets me, so if we break it down, obviously they've just had the final between Moana and Carissa, and Moana won comfortably. Carissa's score in the final was 3, shot a 3.73, 2-wave total. In the semi-final, Carissa won with a 7.84 heat total. And
she maybe could have got a 9 though in that final if that backdoor barrel kind of opened up. That was a pretty that was a pretty gnarly wave that she went for. It wasn't hollow, but she's got to do it on the left, hasn't she?
If we're going on facts,
yeah, you like the facts, don't you, mate?
Well, it's just if we're going on facts, that the only person to get into double figures today was Moana twice. Even Tyler got a sick backdoor wave. Got an 8.83.
She didn't get a second because there wasn't a second, was there?
No, because all the other waves were going left, and she didn't. She's a back.
So you're talking Tyler. So we've switched back from the final. We've mentioned the final. Moana killed it, smashed it. Got like about, how many waves did she get? Like a ton. Huh?
Yeah.
Details. Few details. Let's have a look. She got a 6, a 5, a 3, a 3, a 6, and a 7. And the 2 3s were pretty good waves. Joe Blow would have been happier than Larry to get those 3.33s.
If she got her lowest 2 throwaways would have beat Carissa in the final.
And she got a 14 in the semi.
Yeah.
And on that one, she got 2 3s, which must have been front side barrel she came out of. And a 7 and a 6. She didn't really fall off on any, did she?
One of the waves in the semis, one of the 3s she got was when she packed a massive tube and didn't get out. But she got rewarded with a 3 for not coming out of it. But other than that, that was the only wave I don't think she made it out of, except for one in the final that clamped on her a bit like Seth did yesterday. But yeah, I just saw
a replay of Tyler's 8.67 again, and I reckon they could have gone a 9 on that.
Yeah, wouldn't have changed the outcome, I guess. But
yeah, not for the outcome, just for meriting. The wave for what it was worth.
Yeah, I think the competition in Holo was pretty sick, and I actually, like I say, I enjoyed watching the women. With that, I thought one of the best days actually was the the quarterfinals.
Okay, so we skipped quickly over heat 2 there in the semis, which
go back.
My mum said, if you don't have something nice to say about something, don't say anything. But it would be us omitting fact, of which you like, that Lakey didn't really take off on a waiver. So she's like a world title contender, wants to be. And obviously it looks like now that unless she wants to not be a world title contender anymore, that she's in big trouble.
I would slightly disagree because I think I think this is one of the events where she'd probably look at it and go, this is one of her weakest events in terms of where it could be and where it's at. So finishing up with a semi-final finish is a really, really good start for her.
You're right.
I think she would have eyed up pipe and gone, maybe I won't get anything here. Sunset, I reckon she'll do pretty good at sunset, and then other waves. But so I think she didn't do very well today. She didn't do very well. I mean, she barely took up on a wave. You are 100% correct. But throughout the rest of the event, I think she stepped up a little bit more than I expected her to.
Yeah, I think she got lucky. On a couple. I mean, she got past Joanne Defay.
Yeah, Joanne made a mistake.
On the 3 foot day. She got a good barrel, huh? Was it pretty good? That wasn't really pipe. They shouldn't have really run that day to start with.
Joanne,
honestly, they would have been better to run all today. They could have gone all day today, but they didn't.
Joanne made a mistake in that heat. She had priority and let and went on the first wave of the set. It was shitty, and then behind it, Lakey did lock into a sick backdoor wave.
Okay, and that was from the looks of things and from my memory, Moana's closest call, because Isabella got a pretty sick barrel in that heat, and she got a 7.67, and she could have easily won that heat if she had got she only needed like a 4. Now I think that was Moana won, and she deservedly won. But if you look at all her scores, she was kind of getting 6s like the whole event.
Yeah, this is why I felt sorry for Isabella that day, because I think her heat score that day won every other heat bar that one, or maybe she would have lost to Carissa as well. But so if she came up in against anybody else, she was likely to have moved forward. But Moana did.
Carissa got a sick barrel that day too. That was when
she nearly had 2.
Like a really good backdoor barrel.
Yeah, and the wave just before it lipped her in the head just as she was trying to get out the doggy door as well. So she would have had 2. She would have had probably the highest heat total of the event for the women that day if she'd have made that second wave.
I dare say she was penalised by them running the final on a day where pipe was better, but it is called pipe. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly. I think, and it was one of those days where the first heat was Tyler versus Malia Manuel, which I thought was going to be a juicy heat. And I think the waves had a little bit of morning sickness that day. Like you said, it wasn't the greatest day to run pipe because it was one of those days where it had the long lulls and the big kind of downtime periods. And I think those two didn't have a great heat because of that, and it could have gone either way.
And India Robinson didn't surf because she had concussion twice this year. So honestly, I don't blame her. But
well, I think she,
it's a bit weird to start the tour if you're not going to surf because of your concussion. Because I'm telling you, you're going to get just as much chance of concussion at sunset.
It was a weird one. They haven't. They said it was from a pre-existing injury.
Yeah, she had concussion. She had 2 head injuries this year.
Yeah, we said in Poddy 1, didn't we? When we talked about gaffs, but they didn't actually say. She hasn't actually come out and said it's because of that. But I guess I would assume the same thing as you.
Yeah, I read something where she alluded to that, which obviously,
it's weird as well because she surfed the first couple of heats. So why?
It was slightly bigger that day.
Yeah,
on the second day.
Fair enough. So working backwards, I guess that was the quarterfinal kind of roundup, and then back to the round of 16 where we had my favourite heat lineup of men's and women's, which was Moana up against Tatiana Western Webb, where she the history of the slap, which was a good heat.
She
Moana.
was she was quite underwhelming, honestly, wasn't she, Tati? I thought she was going to send it a little bit more. I don't know if she just didn't seem to get.
Yeah, I thought she'd be a bit more
heaps
fiery.
of smaller scores.
I thought she would be a bit more fiery and a bit more kind of maybe like paddle battle-y, maybe try to make it out of Moana's comfort zone where she's not generally a competitive surfer. I expected Tatiana Western Webb to kind of almost Medina-esque kind of approach to that event, to that heat, but it felt all a little bit friendly. And she did take off on a lot of closeouts. She got worked, but I think Moana's wave knowledge was just second to none. So yeah, that was another one where Moana kind of stood out.
And poor old Bethany Hamilton she didn't. I think it was too small for her, really.
It was.
She probably would have gone better like today.
Yeah, 100%. Talking about Bethany, she did get one of the sickest waves of the event in the round before, where she's doing some mad rail grab on a backdoor wave. She's phenomenal. How inspiring Bethany Hamilton is next level.
She's a human miracle.
Yeah, you talk about some of the kind of things that surfers do, and sometimes you forget about how mad Bethany is. I've said it for a long time now. I think if the shark accident hadn't happened, obviously this is changing a lot of things, but I think she'd be a multiple time world champ in my
perhaps
opinion.
She might have lost interest.
Yeah,
she was already fully sponsored at the time, and she's that good that you'd think she would have kicked on, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
and also that round, Betty Lou Sakura, who's the heir to the throne, Isabella took her. She's only 16, but she's from Hawaii, so I mean she didn't really get any proper barrels either. So that's where Isabel got through a bunch of rounds because she was getting good frontside barrels. So she was a real. I don't think he'd call it a surprise, but she stepped up.
Yeah, and I agree about Betty. I picked her to probably do a bit better than that, and she didn't quite do as well. There was, to be honest, let's be a little bit harsh. There was, as well as we're bigging people up, there's a couple of people that I thought would do a bit better, and to be honest, even with their results, taking results out of it, they kind of looked shit. Betty looked okay. She got a couple that she didn't make. I thought that Luana Silva and Gabriella Bryant, both being from Hawaii, would be better. And
yes, they weren't, were they?
I just thought they looked a bit. Again, I can be uber critical because they are professional surfers. They didn't even look like they were willing to take a wipeout. It was almost like,
Luana Silva, how old is she? She's what, Brazilian heritage Hawaiian?
I think so. She's 9. There's one of them's 19. They're both young.
Either you're too young, and you look at the tour and you say it's not what I can do yet, and you don't do it, or you're going to cop criticism off Matt. There you go. Huh?
And let me just make this clear.
So get ready for it, girls.
Yeah, and men and everybody else, but
we're not going to criticise men, are we?
Oh, worse, way worse. I think.
Fuck.
I think the women stepped up more than men. Yeah, but so if we kind of just run through, because then I was disappointed. The major disappointment was the WSL making the call that doing the second elimination or the 2 elimination heats the afternoon where it was absolutely shithouse.
Shithouse.
Yeah.
And handicapping Stephanie from having a crack.
Yeah. What? And yes, they saved an hour, but they had all day, like you said, they had all day today.
And they had all day today. Tomorrow, I think the forecast is good for them too. What are they in a rush? What are they in a rush for? They're not leaving the country. They've got another competition there.
I'm calling a conspiracy against Steph. And
perhaps I don't know why they would.
I just thought it was terrible. terrible call.
Why don't we just call them idiots?
Yeah, maybe. And it's funny because if Steph surfed,
I could think of another word that starts with an F and finishes with an S, but there could be kids listening.
it could be. Yeah. If Steph surfs, Bethany Hamilton doesn't. And then one of my favourite parts of the event where Bethany got that tube doesn't ever happen. But at the same time, the Femme Goat deserve to have a bit
a crack.
more. Yeah. So, yeah. But so that for me was the biggest probably disappointment, especially. And then a couple of performances weren't were kind of underwhelming. But I would say for me personally, women's event, if I'm being a Karen and leaving a Trustpilot review.
Who's Karen? Taz's cousin?
No, Karen's like in England, the Karen is the woman who always asks to see your manager and complain, or leaves a Trustpilot review.
The face ache.
Yeah. So if I'm leaving a Trustpilot review on the women's event at Pipe, I reckon I'm giving it 3.5 out of 5.
So give me a top 5 women at Pipe.
As in of the event?
From the top.
Well, if we go from the top, Moana stand out. Absolutely love how she surfed for a long time, and I'm glad to see her put it together in the event. Second, for me, I would say Tyler Wright sent it. She done well today. She got a backdoor barrel the other day, which was really cool. And like you said, I didn't see the interview, but if she's psyching on it, I like that.
She was just incredibly honest about what went on, what she thought about it, what she's looking for, and what she sees in the future. I thought it incredibly honest.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen any guy communicate like that.
I like that. I was surprised that she didn't wear a gaff as well. The third, I would have to say Carissa done well. She did get some crazy barrels, especially backdoor waves, and a couple that were near misses as well. Malia Manuel, again, backdoor, went sick. And then fifth, I would say joint is Molly Picklum and Isabella Nichols. They surprised me the most, and I think they both deserve a little shout out. What about you?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty well the same 5, except I'd probably give a special mention to Lakey, just because she did get a few barrels in the early rounds, which I didn't think she was going to get, and she was pretty stoked on it. And I thought Molly, there's a pretty fucking Joanne kind of sent it too, but she just doesn't look as good in the barrel as like Molly or Malia Manuel, who got like that hell pit in the first round.
Yeah, I do think that the first, Lakey deserves a mention, so I agree with that as well. But yeah, so that would be my roundup of the women. I think it was sick. I'd give it a 3.5 out of 5. There's room for improvement, but it was.
I thought you were going to say 3.5 out of 10. Which
imagine. No,
you could have. There's 1,000 million men commentators on Beach Crit trying to tear the left rear ends out of ladies because they're.
But they wouldn't go and surf. They wouldn't do it.
They're extremely threatened by women getting the half prize money. That really kills them that women are stealing money off them. It's kind of similar to people worrying that immigrants are stealing their jobs and their pay as well.
Idiots. It's a whole different episode that maybe we'll film soon or in between an event. But I personally think that there's too many men on tour and not enough women on tour. And I think it should be leveled out as well. But as I say, that's a different thing, different times. Let's move on to the men.
Can we just throw a quick fuck you to the commentary team, because they're just fucked. Yeah. Like, come on. Like, everyone, there's not one doubt that everyone has the same criticism, and it's that they don't criticize. It's just, fuck yeah, wow, she's great. He's great. That's great. And if there's someone that isn't great, they just look out the window at the dog across the road.
Yeah, so I would, maybe I know that you probably won't agree with this. I'll give slack to Ross Williams, because I do think he calls it as it is. I think he does say, that was a pocket ride, or that wasn't a barrel, or they could have been deeper, they should have taken off, blah, blah, blah. let me just say, if you watch it back, Kaipo Guerrero doesn't understand what a microphone is, because when he's doing the announcement for the winner, he's shouting into a microphone. So he sounds like the world's biggest dick skin. And
Overkill.
yeah, just you've got a mic, just talk into it normally. And I hate Chris Cote.
But maybe we could find a boat for Chris.
Yeah,
And put him on the boat.
And also, while we're hating, I always like to be fair. I thought Strider's insight from the water and the way he called it, especially early rounds on the men, where he was saying they should be deeper, they should be sitting deeper, blah blah blah, was spot on. Because then you saw, this leads us quite nicely. First round, the first couple of rounds of the men was in the opening day was decent. Everyone was saying Owen Wright got underscored, blah blah blah. But then Strider was like they should be deeper, and then you saw Baron Mamiya paddle out.
Manolo.
Yeah, and he actually made Strider's point crystal clear. So I did think Strider was sick, and I like Strider's take on it all.
Okay, then. Well, Strider's brother. It looks like we switched. It was a smooth transition. We're straight into the men's round one. Best day of competition at Pipeline, I reckon, in history, because everyone lives in the moment. So every time we've got a good day, it's going to be the best in history. But
yeah,
it was pretty good. Come on, it was 10-foot stiff offshore, and there was some sensational. Owen probably got underscored, but it was the first round. And he doubled his competitors. And that was Zeke and Geordie. He doubled their scores.
Yeah. Owen. It was good to see. I thought it was. I was actually having an argument on a group chat that I've got that I don't think he was underscored, and I thought that when by heat 4, when Barron paddled out, it showed that Owen left a few points out there, but he still set sick, and it was good to see him back sending it.
Let's do a round by round, one phrase map. Okay. Heat on the heat by heat. Opening round, if you can remember off the top of your head. Owen, Geordie, Zeke. What do you remember the most?
Owen's 7.1 was a sick wave.
Was a sick wave, wasn't
it? And it was the first heat. So it's not one word, but first heat back of the new season, and it set a tone. And I thought this is going to be good.
And he did a big long stall, and then it went into a fast running section. Can you remember that? And you're like, how's he going to come out of that? And he came out quite easily.
Yeah.
So, it was heat 2. Griff, McGilla, and Geordie, Tron Paul.
It was a weird heat. The waves, it went, because of how good Pipe was, everyone knows it could go into lulls, and it had a little bit of a lull. So it was a bit of a come down from the Owen heat, but I thought Griff surfed pretty well. Yeah.
He underwhelmed me, Griff, which was disappointing because I put him in my fantasy surfer team at the last minute. I switched Geordie out like a dick, and I put Griff in, and I don't know, something looked weird. I think it was the rail spray on his board. It made the board look like it was unstable, as weird as that sounds.
Could have been sprayed funky. Heat 3.
Oh.
I thought Conor O'Leary surfed sick.
Connor owned it, didn't he?
Yeah. I love that.
He was a happy fella. It was the heat of his life.
It was sick. It was good to see him do decent in that heat. I like Conor
O'Leary. Do what he can do. Stand up tall in hell pits.
Yeah, it was sick. So that was a good one. Heat 4, I've mentioned him already. Barron Mamiya was fucking nuts, and quickly became a lot of people's favourite surfer to watch that day.
I knew Barron was going to go mental. He was in all my fantasy surfer teams.
Same.
How can you, that's the other thing that I kind of got a bit annoyed with the commentary. Like, they're trying to explain to us who he is and stuff, like we don't know. I mean, the dude fucking
just go and watch Snap 4.
We know. And you don't even have to watch Snap 4. We know anyway. Every year they've been talking about him for years. He nearly made the tour. He's as explosive. Like Kelly was lucky We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Then Ferreira Rocher got through really
heat five. Heat 5, I would have gone and walked my dog because I honestly think I saw Italo's earrings when he was putting on the jersey, and I decided, this is where I'm going to go walk my dog for half hour, so I don't miss anything.
Took the dog for a walk. Missed him.
It just bores me, and it doesn't look like a mismatch.
No, but he charges. You don't like him. It's just a personal thing, which is all right. One of those dudes turns up at your local disco and he's got the V-neck shirt and earrings, a bit of hair gel in, and it's easy to not like him. But the dude could be an intelligent guy and give you a good conversation. And Italo fucking just looks like a gangster.
Yeah.
Toletta was disappointing, which is a pity, but he did come back, and Callum Robson pulled into a fucking bomb straight off the bat.
Yeah.
Then Ivan Florence in the next heat went AWOL.
Yeah. Against Felipe
and Toledo, incredible. Remember, he went for that air.
Yeah.
He landed that 360 air. That was sick, that 360 air, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was so...
it was sick.
It was so great.
Because it was crazy, because there was 10-foot bombs out the back, but he was still able to find that inside section and do that little street. That was sick.
Yeah, just a little asterisk on that. If you can't tell, Darren's been highly sarcastic.
I love 360 airs on the inside.
That air was shithouse as well. So,
and look, it was only like got a 3.5, and it's weird because then you look at the next heat, and obviously something maybe Seth did a 360 air as well because he got a 16.44 total.
No airs at all.
And really, in that heat there, he kind of just
set the tone.
Well, yeah, wasn't it? It was like, I'm here, come on.
Yeah, Seth and Kanoa, they had Seth's 8.37 was the wave before Kanoa's 9, so it was like a back-to-back trade-off, and that was sick to watch. That was a cool heat.
You know the Desert Disasters. I fucking switched. I'm throwing it in early. I switched Seth for Zeke as a similar price, because I just thought Zeke was gonna. I think honestly, I think Seth's a better pipe surfer, but I thought Zeke was gonna muscle his presence through more heats than Zeke, and I was wrong. Boom.
Yeah, that is a disaster. Heat 8. All we care about is that Jackson Baker won it.
He pulled into that sick hell barrel straight off the bat, didn't he?
He was
struggling.
He was the only rookie to win his heat. There was a couple of rookies that got through, but he was the only one to win it. And if he made the 2.23 that they gave him, if he made that barrel, I think he would have been one of the highest scores of the whole event. It would have been 9.
Yeah, it was sick. And he also did a look back into the pit on another one because you could see how much fun he was going to have. And we'll have him on a later episode. I'm going to be talking to him soon.
Yeah, sick. The funny thing with that heat is Jackson won that heat with a 6.43. You move on to the next heat, which was my favourite heat of the round, which was John versus Zhao Qianke, and Jadson Andre was in the heat but just shouldn't have. And Zhao Qianke came second in the heat with a total heat score of 15.3, and against anyone else would have won his heat. But that was sick. That was a sick heat, and I think Zhao actually made John step up in that heat.
He did. It was obvious.
Yeah,
because John, I don't think he needed to step up because he was going to anyway. But I think all of a sudden he thought, hang on, I haven't stepped up quick enough.
Yeah, and he wanted to win the heat rather than just get through it. I'm going to let you take the next one because of your boy.
Jack actually was. I'm still heartbroken.
The highest heat score of the entire event,
and potentially you wouldn't. I'm not going to call it the best surfing of the whole event because Kelly and Seth actually both did that, but that was the best surfing of that round, and Jack potentially could have won the event if he didn't brain fart the next heat that he did. It was off the hook, and I thought that Kelly when you spoke to him, saw after the interview and stuff, you could kind of see that he's at that stage he was kind of playing second fiddle to the Jack Jackson, the John Johns. He was still got hell barrels. He went right. He got the scores on rights, but like people would have started thinking, does the old fella have enough gas in the tank?
The other thing though with Jack Robinson, I always look out for this. If someone clocks a 917 and 95 in the opening round, I always worry.
They always do. They just melt.
Because
unless it's Medina.
They peak too early. Yeah, but even Medina grows through events most of the time. Some events, or John in Margaret River a couple of years ago, where he just got 20 in every heat. Anyway, heat 11, the most stylish surfer.
He looked good, huh?
Ethan Ewing is like, I just love watching him surf.
I think he looked good in that. I think his tube style looked good. I think he's one guy that sounds. It's the same case as the women, man. He just needs more time out there. Yeah,
definitely. Can we just pick up as well? Your dark horse for this event was Imai Kalani DeVault.
Yes, the DeVault. The poor fella.
He looked weird out there.
Out of sorts.
Yeah. And he's he's good at pipe as well. So that was weird.
I did have some inkling of. I didn't put it. Hey, he wasn't in my fantasy surfer team.
No, he was in mine.
Because as much as I think he's epic, the jury's out on his metal under the 30-minute siren.
Yeah, I switched him out for Zhao Chianka last minute, which I'm happy I done. Last heat was Nat Young actually got a sick 9.4. That was a banging wave. But other than that, not much else happened.
Yeah, look, I've known Leo since he was 11, and I doubt he'll listen to this podcast. It was disappointing. I saw he just played I don't know, he got through the heat, but I saw 10 waves that I could be wrong. I'm going to watch the replay again tomorrow or when I can. And I saw 10 waves that if he was in a free surf, he would have killed to get those waves, killed someone. So I don't know why they're not going them. I don't get it.
I felt like it was a little bit like Leo was surfing against David Silva, especially because Nat Young got the 9.4 early and he just wanted to get through.
How many chances in your life do you get with three guys out at 10-foot offshore pipe when you've actually got the ability to surf 10-foot offshore pipe like that? Put us out there, you're still going to be probably not even catching a wave. But put us out at our personal best conditions you can ever think of, and you want to try and go and catch more than one wave.
Yeah, and then if we just move, because if we go quickly on to
if we look at the eliminations round, poor old Morgan's going to be left behind this year.
Talking about what you just said about Leo, he sat there for 20 minutes.
Doesn't catch a wave. Embarrassing.
Just Morgs. I've built him up. I tell everyone about Morgs.
I think he's, and I don't think he's scared. He just sat there.
It just was like, yeah.
He must have been constipated or something. Maybe he was. Yeah. Maybe he ate something for brekkie or something.
Maybe. Or something weird happened. The rest of that elimination round, Imai Kalani Vault did get an 11-point total, but wasn't good enough. Geordie got a 9.73, which was special. Geordie started coming back to life there, didn't he? Yeah. A surprise for me on that day was
that was nearly the wave of the event.
Yes. Yeah. It would have been unless without
maybe it was 9.73.
Yeah. It surprised Jake Marshall surprised me that day because I thought he was a bit underwhelming day one, and then he won his elimination heat.
He was lucky, man. Geordie Lawler got the wave of his life, and he probably could have got another. I mean, that was sick. They couldn't score. He just wasn't deep enough. But it was. No. I think they should have scored it bigger because he should have got through that heat with that wave because that was a 10-foot lake drop. And at one stage you got to say, this dude's just taking a 10-foot late drop. We're not going to give someone else a win because they got a 4-foot longer wave. But you know, I'm not an international judge. We don't really have 2 hours, so we'll just go past that last heat, which was honestly, look at it. It was the next round.
You would have taken your dog out, even if you didn't have a dog.
Yeah, I would have taken. I'd take my cat for a walk. I took my cat for a walk.
Round of 32, which is the killer round, especially for Survival League players like myself who picked Jack Robinson. I picked Jack Robinson out first round, out first event. But if we went for it, Darren Mamia, again, he beat Connor in quite a close heat. We called Connor Coffin to be pretty good, but Barron is very, very good.
Yeah, and the waves were dodgy. Honestly, even though Kelly and Barron made them look good because they were catching backdoor funnels, but it was wonky and the swell wasn't there. And the commentators just kept saying, "The swell's coming, man. The swell's coming. The swell's coming.
Didn't
the
show
swell's
up.
coming." And the swell wasn't coming.
You go through that. The start of that day, especially, you got Kelly versus Jake. Like Kelly won with 11 points. Jake only had one wave. Kanoa and Owen Wright, 2 very, very good pipe surfers, and you're talking a 7.5 plays a 5.5.
Yeah, it put me to tears. I nearly cried watching Owen go out in shit waves like that. And he's a good bloke, and I saw him splash in the water, and he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy.
No, and even Leo Nat 9 versus 7.
It was a lame heat too. Leo did a political heat again.
Italo done well. Miguel Pupo.
Italo sent it in that heat. He got heaps of waves. He was packing clothes out.
He did actually.
He was all over the shop like an electric puppy.
Yeah, I did watch that heat, and I did think he surfed well. He actually made me tired watching him because he's that energetic, and he is sick. I like how he paddles out and he sits next to, or he chats with Strider and stuff like that as well. Heat 6, bit shit to watch because Connor lost when I'm a little bit invested in Connor, but Miguel Pupo is one stylish guy.
Oh, he's nice on a surfboard, man. He's Jerry Lopez, and like Moana Wong as well. They're all three. They're just minimum movement.
Gave me Jerry Lopez vibes for sure. Heat 7, Carlos Munoz against Federico Moraes. I think Carlos won the heat, but
and
his shoulder.
Did he shoulder it? Yeah.
How small is he? He looks tiny. I don't actually know.
He's 80 centimeters, Matt.
Fair enough for paddling out of pipe. Well played. Luca Messinas beat Kalohe with a buzzer beater.
Yeah, I thought that was. I don't know about conspiracies, but I thought they cooked that left.
They 100% cooked it, and it always happens to Kalohe, and I don't know why.
Poor old Kalohe, they don't like him.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was way overscored.
Maybe they've got issues with his father, and it's bringing it down a generation.
Maybe. Next heat was Felipe versus Ivan Florence. That was the day where everyone was saying it's going to be massive, and I was waiting for the swell to show up.
It's coming, the swell's coming. You wait till it's coming. It's going to be washed throughs.
Especially for that heat. I was waiting for it for that heat, and it didn't. And Felipe did get he got a good wave. He got a 7.67.
What was it? It was a right, wasn't it?
Yeah, backdoor, yeah. And he
can ride. Hey, he's a good tube rider, Felipe. He could. Yeah. I just think he could be a way better one. But honestly, I don't think he wants to.
No, maybe not. And I think it depends on if you look at the schedule this year, you might need to. It depends on how the waves play out. Heat 10 is your disaster heat because Seth beat Zeke. It was a good heat, actually.
It was a good heat. And it was tight. It was scrappy. Like I like to say, it was scrappy.
Heat 11 is my disaster heat. But I'll have to say, Zhao Chianco was my favourite surfer in the event. I thought he was so good. Well, maybe not my favourite surfer in the event, but he was the biggest surprise. And I thought coming out of it, I'm excited to see what else he does this year. He beat Jack Robinson. And I thought for the first time, it was weird. I felt like Jack Robinson's wave selection was just off.
Yeah, he nosedive one coming down the face. You know what, as well? These overlapping heats, sometimes they're kind of dicky because, like, most of the dudes, there's only one in every 5 heats where actually the dude who's in the non-priority heat gets a good wave. Those guys, I remember, were just sitting there, couldn't get a wave. Jack couldn't get a wave. He's waiting, and then he nosedived.
And then it turns into a 20-minute heat.
Yeah, and Jo got the smoking right, and Jack then pulled into a closeout and he was out.
Yeah, heat 12. Unfortunately, our man Jackson Baker got pulled against John.
Well, you could have put your house and your mum's house on this heat, couldn't you?
And you wouldn't have got anything back. I actually checked.
No, you probably would have had to. They would have kept your mum's house.
I checked the odds, and it was almost borderline disrespectful to Jackson Baker about how one-sided the odds were. But yeah, John put on a clinic.
Well, it wasn't really. It was more respectful to John.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, heat 13, Kyowa Belly beat Griff, and I didn't see it happening, but Kyowa surfed sick. I thought
he stepped up. He's good. He's 75 centimeters, by the way.
Yeah,
and so a stand-up barrel for him makes it look good.
Yeah, I thought he was surprisingly good, and I was pleasantly surprised with his performance. So well done, Kyowa Belly. Heat 14 was a heartbreaking heat to just see drawn because Callum Robson and Ethan Ewing.
Yeah, because they're both fun surfers to watch, aren't they?
Yeah,
that's why we tune in for these things.
And they sent it. Both of them went well that heat, and Callum Robson I think he just went on some bigger waves. He looked a bit more critical and a bit later on his drops and a bit deeper.
Yeah, he's not going deep enough.
No. Heat 15, Sammy Pupo beat David Silva. He basically surfed on his own. And then Geordie, the all South African heat, Geordie beat Matt McGilvray. Matt McGilvray actually got the best wave of that heat, but he just couldn't back it up.
Couldn't back it up.
Story of a lot of heats as well, like Ivan Florence's as well. So that was the round of 32, which then led us to the round of 16, which heat 1 was the start of the roll for the GOAT. He got the buzzer beater. Baron Mamiya.
Oh, that was incredible, man.
Yeah, Baron Mamiya. I mean, I think within 5 minutes, Baron had his 15-point heat score, and then the Kelly got the 8, and it was a bit weird. And then he started to touch the water and do some weird goatish type shit.
Hey, I forgot what I was going to do for this potty, so I'm switching into how I was going to do this potty from now on. But okay. when I was watching Uncle Baron and Uncle Kelly, I was actually asleep on the famous Lafuma, and I was just kind of blinking. It was late, wasn't it, this one? Yeah. I was blinking, I was waking up, I was blinking, I was waking up. And I just got the last 10 minutes of it, and I just thought, Kelly's getting smoked. Uncle Kelly's getting smoked by Uncle Baron. And how was it? That, like, I think I nearly got a tear in my eye when Uncle Kelly got that wave. And then I felt his tears as he was walking up the beach. And that was the beginning of the Uncle Tear Fest.
Yeah, I'll be completely honest. When I saw him do it, I just laughed my head off. It's the most Kelly thing. He hasn't done that for a while, and I loved every second of it.
4 seconds, mate. 4 seconds to go.
But the thing was, he let the wave beforehand, with 20 seconds to go, he let a wave go, and that is why he's Kelly. Heat 2, Kanoa beat Leo in quite a good heat, quite an entertaining heat.
Uncle Kanoa against Uncle Leo.
Yeah,
the old mates from when they were 10.
Yeah, and it was cool to see them surf against each other, and it was like pretty fun type of heat. And Kanoa just got better waves, so well done. Heat 3, Miggy style master Miguel Pupo
took out Uncle Italo with all the gold.
Yeah.
See, who would have picked that?
Well, you did.
Yeah.
There we go. There's your ego boost for the week. That makes up for you dropping Seth. Luca Messina's had a bye basically because
Well,
Carlos.
Uncle Carlos tried to paddle out, which is ridiculous because it was 12 to 15 foot pipe and he's just dislocated his shoulder. And Uncle Carlos thought he could send it again, but he didn't.
No, he couldn't. Soz Carlos. Seth beat Felipe because the waves were big.
And Uncle Seth is got a car and a truck more worth of baggage and pipe than Uncle Felipe. He only turned up a few days before the event.
Yeah. Then Double John took on Zhao Chianca again in a mental heat, the best heat of the round, even though
crazy heat.
Even though it beat Kelly's. Yeah, John, he got a 9-7 and 8. Zhao's got a 9-8-7. We got the biggest wave score of the heat, and then just couldn't back it up. But Zhao Chianca took off on this massive wave, and he like mid-face stalled and just pulled into this giant closeout, just fully like he knew it was unmakeable and it was mental to watch. And the guy's an absolute madman, especially because like 2 days before the event even started, he got stuffed into a cave. So well played, Zhao Chianca.
Did Uncle JJ get overscored a little bit in that heat, you reckon?
Nah, not for that.
No.
I think he won. I think he was the better surfer in the heat. Yeah. So some of his.
So it was by Uncle Zhao, but Uncle Zhao's now got fucking merit points on the North Shore for at least a week or two. You'd think.
And then Kyra Belly smoked our boy Cal Robson,
which was kind of strange, but like Uncle Callum's waves were just it was pumping, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was
they just couldn't get deep. They couldn't get deep. Not enough experience, I guess.
No.
15-foot wedges coming at you. Where do you sit?
Yeah. It just came down to
from the looks of them.
It came down to who picked the better waves, and Kyo picked the better waves, and he's probably had a bit more time out there than Cal Robson. So, Kyo again surprised me as he does most of the time. So good on him. And then Heat 8, Sammy Pupo just teed off on Geordie Smith, basically.
Took him to parts, took him to bits, took him to pieces. Took him to the wreckers.
So that was led into the quarterfinals.
Which was the final day, which was
Saturday.
Which was last night.
Yes. And Kelly kind of just schooled Kanoa. I thought it was really, really interesting to see. He was actually pretty aggressive. Or he kind of, even on waves that Kanoa was taking off on that Kelly wasn't interested in, he was sitting kind of in the lip and looking down them and stuff like that. And it was old school Kelly, and it was sick.
Hey, I'll say it early. I was going to wait. But I think the deciding factor in Kelly winning this comp is the fact that he, for the first time in many years, he rode a 6.6, man. He rode a 6.6, which is what he should be. Obviously, what he should have been riding a few years ago. He had more rail line. I noticed that in the first round he got this right, and he was down in like the kind of old school Tom Curran survival stance because he was on a longer board, which meant he wasn't pumping. He was letting the board to do work for him.
And he had it in quad.
And the board just kept doing the work for him. But obviously, he did the work with the board, but it was so much better to see him on that.
It was,
honestly,
and Ross,
for me.
Yeah, and Ross Williams kept saying about how Kelly had a quad setup, big quad setup that helped him like kind of slide and pivot over foam balls as well. So board choice was massive. But he's a quad
freak, mate.
Quad connoisseur.
Quads are fantastic.
Yeah.
Quad. And I think he modified the world of surfing with his love of quads back in like 2008, and still going strong on them.
Yeah. Heat 2 was Miguel Pupo versus Luca Messinas. It was a bit.
That was a little bit of I was a bit disappointed with that heat. You were too, weren't you, mate?
It was slow, and Strider said it in the water. There just didn't look like there was any intent, which I could get from Miguel Pupo because he's kind of that stylish type of person where he just doesn't look like he's trying, even though he sends it. But
it was Sean Thompson. That's when they had the Sean Thompson interview as well.
It
he just had a big bowl of magic mushrooms, and he kind of said, and it was kind of true. You've either got the dudes that are just going for it, or those guys were maybe trying to get through their heat.
Yeah, heat 3 was amazing. Seth stepped up when mental. That 9-6, the drop on that 9-6 back to
That
away
was
was
just
psycho.
beyond words.
And then I thought John was
just-
going to beat him though. When John, because John had the 7, 6, 7, and then the 9, and I thought, oh, he's done it. And then Seth got the backup 8.
Yeah, but no, Seth didn't just get the backup 8. John took off on a big fucking heavy
I was about to say
closeout
that.
right, and he didn't need to.
And he broke his board.
He should have just sat. He was in the lead. He's the best surfer at Pipe. He should have just sat out there.
Yeah.
And waited for the next. He would have been on the 8 that Seth took. So
I was about to say that 100%.
John blew it, and Seth didn't blow it.
Yeah, that was what I was about to say, is that John, as well as Seth surfed, John lost that heat rather than Seth won that heat.
Oh, kind of, because that wave Seth got at the start. Now you can look at that 100 times and still get the shivers, because that's fucking 1 meter of water over dry reef, and he took off with the lip and free fell into the pit on a shortboard.
Yeah. It was just more for me that John had the scores and he would have had priority.
Yes. I agree with you, despite the fact that Seth sent it so hard that's why he won it.
And then heat 4, Caio Belli beat Sammy Pupo. Sammy just didn't really turn up, and Caio got some decent waves.
Just left his bag on the beach, didn't he?
What I did think was disappointing, although no one could do anything about it, is when you look at the quarterfinal lineup, Kelly versus Kanoa, John versus Seth, and then Miguel Pupo, Luca Messinas, Caio Belli, Sammy Pupo. If again, it's completely not possible, but I wish I could have chose it, that it would have been like Kelly versus Luca, Kanoa versus Miguel, Seth versus Caio, John versus Sammy Pupo. They all win, and then the semi-finals would have been.
Yeah, you wanted to pick and choose, because if we could have done that, I actually then just would have put in heat 2 Jack versus Owen, and then in heat 4 I would have put like Joe Chunka versus
John
Corey Lopez.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was just me being picky, but you can't be. Semi-finals were kind of, they were almost anticlimactical because of the quarterfinal draw. But Kelly,
I was drifting in and out of sleep on the Lafuma there.
Yeah, so Kelly beat Miguel with a sketchy heat total, but there was the interference. So Kelly went to go right and was on his feet, and Miguel went to go left. And it was a non-priority interference, but basically it was interference, and he had half his score.
I reckon they could have given him both an interference on that one. But even though I reckon it was right. But Kelly was
Kelly was up, and there was a line into that backdoor wave.
And Kelly was getting big scores on rights the whole comp, so why shouldn't he be able to go get another one?
Yeah. And then Seth beat Caio quite comfortably. Caio had a weird heat. He took off on some weird waves and he just got pounded. But for Caio Belli to finish semi-final at Pipe as a wild card, I hope it earns him.
It's just incredible, man.
How
stoked would you be?
But I hope it gets him a wild card into Sunset, because I think he deserves it. And
did he not get the wild card for a few events? Because
they haven't announced it yet. It's just it
was just a one-off
at the moment, but obviously they've got a pick for Sunset.
Why did they pick him anyway? Was he the next person on the ratings or something?
No, I don't know. I think it was something to do with a previous Pipe result, maybe. But obviously he took Medina's place and he done pretty well. So, and then that takes us to the grand finale, where the GOAT just went ham. And
He was in his pasture, wasn't he?
Yeah, 9 and a 9.77 in the final.
And a couple of 8s, probably, wasn't it?
Yeah.
An 8 and an 8 and a 7.
And it was.
So his third and fourth wave would have won the final.
Yeah, and I'm about to say something that I know that for a fact you're going to disagree with, but I
don't agree with you, Matt. I don't agree with you.
I felt sorry for Seth that he only had a 10-minute turnaround. I don't understand how that's fair that Kelly had 50 minutes.
Okay, they only go to that is a bit dodgy.
They had a 10-minute turnaround. What, especially if they weren't going to run the women's, which they announced that they weren't. Why did they?
We all knew they weren't going to run the women's anyway. Like we were already saying it, sending messages, and it was logical. Like you're looking at the waves that they were getting.
Yeah, but
I don't even think Moana would have been able to. Maybe she would have got one wave.
So I just don't get why they handed. Like he was talking to Strider after the semi, and he said, "I've got worked in that heat. I'm blowing. Like I've got an adrenaline and stuff." And there was some waves in the final that his foot slipped on one of the first ones he went for, and a couple of other waves where he didn't quite make them. And I just felt like, geez, like to have that. He had his quarterfinal against John, which is obviously difficult. Then semi-final, and then a 10-minute turnaround to go into the final against Kelly.
A 50-year-old man.
Yeah, but Kelly, not just any. And it was a bit, you could argue the same with the women. Moana surfed first, so then Carissa had her heat against Lakey, and then basically a 10-minute turnaround or so into the final as well today. I just don't get why they weren't giving him a longer period to just come in and just reset. Literally saw Seth. The worst thing about it was they told him to come in to change his jersey, so he had to come all the way in, change his jersey, and then go all the way back out. And it
is weird. It is weird, but he should be able to hack it because, like, if that was a pipe free surfing day, he would have got in the water at 6.
Yeah,
and come out at 10. Come in, had a sandwich, and went back out.
But on a free surf day, they only get 4 or 5 waves all day.
But they don't got a jet ski taking back out.
I just thought it was a bit weird, but we can't chat all night, but let's just chat about the GOAT quickly.
Well, it could have been a conspiracy because they want the GOAT to retire. So they figured, let's make him win this one, and he's gone, because if he's gone, no one will watch us anymore, and then we don't have to do a show anymore.
He's going nowhere. He's going absolutely nowhere.
You reckon he's going to Sunset?
100%. Of course he's going to Sunset.
Okay.
And I think he'll go to Portugal.
Oh, I don't think so. Hey, you know what? With this win,
yeah,
he's going to get through to the second half of the season.
Oh, so, if he does well at Sunset.
You sure?
If he does well at Sunset.
Is he getting like 10,000 points for this?
Yeah, 10,000 points won't get you through.
You don't reckon? What do you get for being last? I'm pretty wrong. 1,330 points. He can get through.
Maybe. But I think he'll definitely.
So he can do this, and then he can do G-Land.
He'll definitely surf Sunset. Because if you think about it, worst case, if he surfs Sunset and comes last, he gets another 1,300 points, right? So he'll definitely do Sunset. But
how much of a slap in the face is that? Being a world hero, first win in 8 or 9 years, 8 pipe titles, everyone in the world loves you, to last place at Sunset, a wave you don't even like.
He won't come last at Sunset. He's too clever. He's too good.
I think so. You wouldn't think so.
But it's mad to think that his first pipe win, I was 2 years old, and he's winning it again. There's too many. You can't say too many good things about him. I was so happy to see him win it.
Put yourself in my shoes, Matt. At his first pipe event, I was 6 months older than him, and this one I was 6 months older than him too.
Yeah.
So anyone my age, like myself, woke up today and wanted to run around the block 100 times because we know we can.
Yeah, which is kind of the reason why he is who he is, and he has the following he has. And I
And
thought
that's probably why he won't retire, because he can't let go of it. But I wish he would, because I just would rather see him on top.
he'll. I think my personal opinion is he'll retire at the end of this year, no matter what. And after today, and listening to him, and obviously at the Chester's final, I really hope he becomes a commentator, because he is the sickest commentator.
Yeah, well, he's really good at it, isn't he?
Yeah. But so that's our pipe wrap. You've already done your disaster, so let's wrap this episode up with some surfing do's or don'ts, and then we can let everybody go. And then we're going to be back with some sick episodes coming up. We've got some special stuff lined up. We're not going to say what, because you'll find out very soon. But do's or don'ts, Daz, what are you saying?
Don't screw your fucking fin screws in too tight. Once they touch the fin, stop. It's not a screwing in as hard as you can competition.
Okay. Have you done something bad, or is it?
No. I just thought
Okay,
about
cool.
it because I was changing fins today, and I was looking at it, and I remember heaps of people bringing in boards, and they screw them in too tight. It's an important thing.
Yep. Okay. Cool. And do?
That was a don't, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Do
yeah.
get up after you get completely inspired from watching an old guy win pipeline, and go and surf your local break, even if it's onshore, which is what I did as well.
Both pretty sound. I agree with that. Do I actually went out today? It's howling winds. It was horrible, and I just had to get in. So yeah, that's a good do. My do's and don'ts. Do actually no. I'll start with a don't. Don't store your leashes coiled up.
Don't, because they're just going to get caught in your feet when you paddle.
Yeah. So
hang
many
them.
times. Hang them up.
Hang
them every time.
Hang 'em.
My do is next time you go and surf, do try and surf a wave switch just to see how hard it is, because it's funny.
Okay, yeah, I don't think I can recall doing that ever.
Even thinking about it's weird.
When I was young, I used to be switch. Like when I was 11 and 12, they called me. That I didn't surf goofy. I didn't surf goofy. I surfed. I didn't surf goofy. I didn't surf backside.
Yeah.
For the first 2 years of surfing.
Well,
And
like
then,
Dan Man.
I don't know. I was just like the old front side.
Yeah, that's is it? I think it's Dan Man.
I can't remember how I switched. Maybe I think I was doing clubbies at the time, and then I think I changed boards, and then I thought, let's try it the other way.
Have you not heard about Dan Man? I'm certain it's Dan Man, or there's
Dan
someone.
Man or Dan the Man?
Dan Man, he's a shaper for Firewire, however you are one of those. I'm pretty certain it's him, and he only goes frontside. So even on he surfs switch rather than surfing backside.
I could say don't be a Stan the band man, but nearly every second surfer is a band man.
Yeah.
Because I used to not like the band mans on my way to work at Quicksilver when I was a young fella back in the day, because as soon as you get to the big steep hills of Bidar, you've got these old vans in front of you, and they can't get up the hill, and you just get caught in a traffic jam. But that was Stan, not Dan.
Each their own. Right, we better wrap
Thanks
up.
for having me, Matt, this evening, and I'll
we'll be back
speak
soon.
to you as soon as I can.
Much love, everybody. Thank you again.
Good evening, and long live Kelly.